starting our new sexual reproduction in human beings, which I already gave you the last session, such as asexual reproduction and the sexual reproduction. So, first of all, you're required reproduction. So, starting from the asexual reproduction does not involve sex cells or fertilization. The word fertilization I have already told you in my previous live session where we were already discussing about what is mean by the reproduction in the human beings which occur obviously the fertile offsprings. It means that there is no fertilization. So the asexual reproduction occurs in only plants. So this is the step that the asexual reproduction always conduct in plants. Only one parent is required, so there is no fusion of gametes and no mixing of genetic information. What does the genetic information or the genetic modification means? It means that what is the height, what is the color of the eyes, what is the color of the hairs, what is the height, and what is basically the skin color. These all come in the genetic information or the genetic modification. It means that if there is no mixing of genetic modification, so it means that there is only asexual reproduction, and you can determine that this is the asexual reproduction. As a result, the offspring are genetically identical to the parent and to each other, or clones. What does this mean? In the human beings, you obviously have seen that the mother face is different from the face of father, and the baby's face is very different from the face of mother and father. It is another thing that yeah, a baby is a bit mixture of the more than mother to the father or more than father to the mother. I know that baby is a mixture of mother and father both, but it's still the face is not exactly the same of the mother face or the father face. Means they are not identical in the sexual reproduction. This is the asexual reproduction in the plants. That's why all the leaves and all the plants are same. Meanwhile, yeah, there are some different categories, but I'm not talking about the categories. I'm talking about the reproduction. For suppose if one category, that's why all the leaves from one category are obviously same. Now here's a diagram for you to understand more about the asexual reproduction. Alright. So it's the examples of asexual reproduction. Bacteria produce exact genetic copies of themselves in a type of asexual reproduction called binary fusion. Alright, so the binary fusion uh, is obviously occurring in the bacteria. As you can see, this is the parent bacterial cell. Alright, and this is the parent bacterial cell which have the circular chromosomes which are visible to you. Either they are having the ribosomes but has been doubled, and now the what was it? The circular chromosomes has been doubled in the parent bacterial cell, and now these are the genetic materials. DNA has replicated. Replicated means has been doubled. All right, so here you can see that this is a parent bacterial cell which have the circular chromosome which consists DNA, which have the genetic material, which consists the genetic information. And now there's a cell division by binary fusion. So this is called the binary fusion. Now you can see the process number one that there was a parental bacterial cell, and the visible things are chromosomes and the ribosomes. Now here the ribosomes of yellow colored dots has been doubled, plus the genetic material has replicated. Means now here the circular chromosomes has been replicated, which consists DNA, which have the information of genes, and there is now the cell divided after the replication. The cell division occurs by the binary fusion, and now they are being distributed to the same amount of number. Has now the two cells have the one chromosome each and one ribosomes. Two genetically identical daughter cells. These are called the daughter cells. All right. So remember that what are daughter cells? Do not confuse yourself. This is not like a human being daughter, but it is the daughter. As fusion it was being cell divided, and this is called the daughter cells. So the two identical, here the word identical represents that they both are the same. And obviously you can see that the mother cell, what the parent cell was having one chromosome, one ribosomes, and the two daughter cells have the same face and the shape of the parent bacterial cell. It means that they are genetically identical. All right. Taking another example, reproduction called producing new plants which are identical to the parent cell. All right. So now here you can see it is a lateral bud, okay, and there's a flower bud and a lateral bud. A bulb is a short stem. Alright, so you can see that the bulb is a short stem with leaves or the remains of leaves which acts as a food storage organ that can develop into a plant in the following year. And here's the new plant will grow from lateral bud. Okay, so from the lateral bud the new plant will grow remains of the leaf. Okay. While the flower bud will remains in the leaf. Okay. A tuber is similar. They form from swollen, fleshy underground stems, but form from them. Okay. The bud is visible to you. Now, what is this basically in which it is visible to you? This is all about the asexual reproduction in the plant. We'll be understanding in the next live stream session of the asexual reproduction in plants. Basically, it cannot be easier to understand this part. What does the tuber and the bulbs means? Okay, but remember that they are only identical to each other, consist of the two daughter cells. The bacteria has been now replicated to the two daughter cells. Okay, some plants develop underground food storage organs that will develop into next year's plants. They can take different forms such as bulbs or tubers. Okay, some plants grow side shoots called runners. Okay, that contain tiny plantlets on them. A good example of this are strawberry plants. These will grow roots and develop into separate plants, again being genetically identical to the parent cell. Here's the parent cell. Okay, and is the runner and the genetically identical plantlet which I grow on the soil and now it become the parent plant. From the parent plant there is a tube, or what is this said, a tube or a shoot, or what you will say as a runner, which will go through the next area of the soil and will be having an and will start to grow to another plant which is called the daughter plant, and here will be the genetically identical plantlet. Means now through this is the procedure through which the asexual reproduction occurs, and this how a parent plant has through his runner, when the runner is stressing to the another part of the soil of the land, and now you are seeing that the roots are visible. When once the daughter plant or the new plant or whatever is say genetically identical plantlet has its own roots, then the runner will be go back to the parent's plant. Means the runner is having the function of the reproduction here, that it is increasing to another area and just going to inside the soil, and then another plant is growing there, which is called obviously the baby plant or the daughter plant. Either it is called only just the daughter cells been applying. Okay, so now here the runner goes back and the new plant has been grow. Remember that the runner will go back until and unless the roots of the new plant will be grow inside the soil. What is the advantages and disadvantages of asexual? This is what you are exactly required to learn. It is very essential in your P1 and P2 of biology. So what are the advantages of the asexual reproduction? So population can be increased rapidly when conditions are right. As we already know that the runners who came out from the parent cell to just grow the new plants to the outside of the area, through this the population of the plants can be increased. And exploit suitable environments quickly. More time and energy efficient. Obviously, it will be taking uh, it is the energy efficient. Reproduction is completed much faster than sexual reproduction. Obviously, the sexual reproduction have a bit time for suppose we can take the example in the human beings. The mother need 9 months to grow the fetus in her stomach. Okay, but the asexual reproduction is faster in comparison to the sexual reproduction. So this is again come in the differences of the comparison. The disadvantage is that the limited genetic variation in population, such as offspring, are genetically identical to the parent cells. Obviously, when for suppose I am just growing a rose plant and I want a lot of rose plants, so just I grow one and the other is been producing through the asexual reproduction, through asexual reproduction. Okay, but after a time period, I'll be observing that there's only rose plants who is been growing for a longer period of time, and there's a garden full of rose, and I need another, like for suppose jasmine or other plants, but there's only just rose. What can I do? Is there any other way they present so that I will let you just produce the jasmine flower or any cactus from the rose plant? No, because it's clearly written that they are genetically identical to the parents. It means that this is the disadvantage, as I will just only get the rose plant. Means there's no chance to get another flower. I'll be only getting the rose flower from the plants. Population is vulnerable to changes in conditions and may only be suitable for one habitat. Obviously, we have been having for suppose a particular plant which is the habitat of a particular animal. Now the plant has been growing, so other animals who are not suitable to that type of plant cannot live there. Only one type of habitat is present there for any one type of animal, so this can cause a problem and is basically the disadvantage of the asexual reproduction. Disease is likely to affect the whole population as there is no genetic variation. This is one of the most point you have to learn it. Okay. Specifically in crop plants, asexual reproduction can be advantageous as it means that a plant that has good characteristics, high yield, disease resistant, and hardy can be made to reproduce asexually, and the entire crop will show the same characteristics. All right. Now we can take the example of the crop plants that for the crop I need to the crop for eating and to just sustain the life for which I'll be requiring the crop plants. So through the asexual reproduction, I'll be getting a lot of high yield. Okay. Now what are gametes and zygotes? So now we are moving towards the sexual reproduction. Basically, what is sexual reproduction, or what do you think about it? As I already told you, the sexual reproduction again is called fertilization, which have been in the human beings. Sexual reproduction is a process involving the of the nuclei of two gametes or sex cells. Okay, one gamete of male called sperm cell, and the second gamete of female called egg cell to form a zygote, fertilized egg cell. Okay, it means obviously that the egg cell is being fertilizing, that's why it is written fertilized egg cell only. And the production of offspring that are genetically different from each other. Obviously, for suppose now I'm just trying to clear your point is basically that for suppose the father is having high high height means tall height, and the mother is having the short height. Okay, and the father is having the brown hairs, the mother is having the golden hairs, so the baby will took one gene of his mother and one gene of his father. Through this the baby will be generated. So the living thing who is being now calling the embryo, the zygote will took two or three genetic information from his mother and from his father through which he'll be created. For suppose the baby will be taking the golden hairs from his mother, from the gene of his mother he will be taking the golden hairs. The baby is having the golden hairs because he has took the gene of his mother. Of the baby must be tall. It means that he have took the gene of his father. So one gene from mother, one gene from father. So if the father and mother are not identical to each other, so how can be the baby identical? All right, this is not the plant. They are the human beings, and the fertilization is defined as the fusion of gamete nuclei, and as each gamete comes from a different parent, there is variation in the offsprings. So there are variation consists in the offsprings. What is called gamete? Sex cell. In animals, sperm and ovum. In plants, pollen, nucleus, and ovum. We have already know that the sexual reproduction also appears in your plant cell. In your plants, basically, the sexual reproduction also occurs. How it is that by the pollen nuclei and the ovum in the plant. We'll be discussing more in the plants. Okay, so what are the gametes? Gametes differ from cells and they contain half the number of chromosomes found in other body cells, we say they have a haploid nucleus. All right. What is the number? What is the total number of chromosomes in the body in one nucleus? There are 24. Sorry, there are 46 chromosomes, and the pair is of 20. The pair is 23. The 23 of chromosomes have been pair, and there are total 46 chromosomes. Understand? Just wait a minute. So where were we? Okay. Gametes differ from normal cells and they contain the half number of chromosomes. It means that the chromosomes have the how many number of chromosomes are there. So basically in the cell the number of chromosomes are 46 and there's 23 pairs. The 23 is not the number but 23 is the pair of the chromosomes. They are the being pairs and the total amount is 46. We say that they are haploid nucleus. It means that the half number of chromosomes. So now the half, what is the half of 46? 23. So there are 23 chromosomes from one sperm cell and an ovum cell. Just focus what I'm trying. Sperm cell, what is basically the number of chromosomes in the sorry in the cell? 46. The sperm and ovum means the sperm cell is a gamete consists of half number of nucleus means the half of 46 is 23. So now there will be 23 chromosomes in sperm and 23 chromosomes in ovum and then they'll be meeting. So 23 plus 23 46. So this is how the new organism will be formed. All right, and for which that has been called the haploid nucleus. So the haploid nucleus you means that the chromosomes with a half number, all right, which is called obviously 23. So now what is basically the sperm cell consists of 3 chromosomes and the ovum consists of 23 chromosomes and they'll be combining to have the 46 chromosomes to generate a new living organism being formed. Okay, this is because they only contain one copy of each chromosome rather than the two copies found in the other body cells. Okay, obviously there's a copy in human beings. A normal body cell contains 46 chromosomes, but each gamete contains 23 chromosomes. Alright, so now we have been talking about the half consists of half number of chromosomes. When the male fuse, they became a zygote, fertilized egg cell. So the zygote is called the fertilized egg cell when the male and female gametes are being meet. So then it's called a zygote. This contains the full 46 chromosomes, half of which came from the father and half from the mother. We say the zygote has a diploid nucleus. Means now the haploid nucleus from the mother and the need to be a diploid nucleus. Here you can see the example of the haploid and diploid cells. The nuclei of gametes are haploid. They contains half number of chromosomes of a normal body cell. In humans, this is 23 chromosomes. The nucleus of a zygote is diploid. It contains the same number of chromosomes as a normal body cells. In human, this is 23 pairs of chromosomes or 46 chromosomes. Here is the word included so just required to write it. If you will not write, obviously the marks will be reduced. In humans, this is the 46 chromosomes, or you can write 23 pairs of chromosomes. The zygote continues to stay diploid as it grows into a fetus and embryo during pregnancy. So this is the haploid nucleus and the diploid nucleus. In the haploid nucleus, this is the half number of chromosome means one green, one red, and one yellow. This is a good example. And for the diploid nucleus, it has been doubled, one from the mother and one from the father. Such as you can say that the haploid nucleus is the egg cell. And now the sperm cell has meat, so there is a green of sperm, red sperm and yellow sperm. So this is now the two times. So the diploid nucleus chromosomes has been uh, doubled, for which now the zygote is being formed. The advantages and disadvantages of sexual reproduction: increases genetic variation is the advantage. The species can adapt to new environment due to variation, giving them a survival advantage. Disease is less likely to affect population due to variation. Obviously, this is I do not think I must explain. Okay. So disadvantage. If you does not understand, you can comment me. The disadvantages are takes time and energy to find mates. Obviously, mother will be need energy. The difficult for isolate the species to reproduce. Or obviously, when the person is isolated, how can be having the reproduction there, no? So this is only the reason, and I hope so that you must be understand of the disadvantages and the advantages of reproduction. Most crops plants reproduce sexually, and this is an advantage as it means variation is increased and a genetic variant may be produced which is better able to cope with weather changes or produces significantly higher yield. The disadvantage is that the variation may lead to offspring that are less successful than the parent plant at growing well or producing a good harvest. Obviously, one more example is there of the asexual reproduction is basically after which I'll become one more uh, disadvantage is that when there must be more. For suppose I'm taking a land, and for the land I'm just trying to grow one portion of rose, one portion of the cactus, and one portion of the jasmine flower, or whatever I want, the crops, etc. Now, if I will be not having the proper balancing and proper focus on the land about the asexual reproduction, the asexual reproduction will be more in the plants, and for which they'll be required more. They'll be fighting for the food, and they'll be need more sunlight, for which most of the plants will be tried to die because of they'll be not getting the enough food energy, and they'll be fighting for the nutrients because they are more in the quantity, and through the asexual reproductions they are being identical, so they need one thing. Like if the one plant is requiring the sunlight, so another must be, because they are genetically identical. So through which this is one of the problem for which the asexual reproduction is being controlled by the farmers. Okay, so I hope so that you understand. If you does not understand, just me understand that you are being still confused, and these are the haploid nucleus and diploid nucleus too, and it means that the diploid cell has been double the haploid cell. All right, so till that is here. If you are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe. And till that, thank you.